Kalal Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the elders and the apostles who taught me this truth. This is your brother Dawad, the real brother beloved, and this is only for the elect.
What is in Obamacare? If you go to, and I'll put all the links in the box. If you go to HR 3962, this is a bill that was written back in 2009, October 29, 2009. If you go down to page, I think maybe 1501, this is the FDA administration. And then if you scroll down a little bit more, it talks about National Medical Device Registry. And if you read down, it talks about implementing and it talks about class 3 medical devices, and that's like pacemakers and stuff. But this right here, it says, and this is a very open-ended bill. It means they can do whatever they want and have vague language. But it says, may include, as the secretary determines, who is Obama's puppet Pelosi, as she deems appropriate, specifies in regulation a class 2 device that is life-supporting or life-sustaining. What is a class 2 device? Well, if you go to the FDA, a class 2 special controls guidance document, implantable radio frequency transponder system for patent identification and health information. And if you go back here, it's all about data registry, medical device registry, health information, implantable. If you go over here to FDA, class 2, implantable radio frequency transponder system for patient identification and health information for medical device registry. And also over here, it talks about it. It goes through. This talks about the class 2. The device is intended to enable access to secure patient identification and corresponding health information in humans. Implantable. What are they talking about? They're talking about the microchip.
And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
Shalom, Yasharallah. So the stage is set. As you can see, it's full steam ahead. Operation Shutdown is in full effect. Regardless of what you feel about the longevity of Senior Trump's presidency, the key players are already in place. North America has responded in end days type fashion. Grocery stores are all almost barren. Who would have thought March Madness would mean everything being canceled in a frenzy, including spectator sports, the NBA, NCAA, NHL, Major League Baseball being the latest. Up north, March break has been extended. Publicly funded schools have been shut down by the federal government for an additional 2 weeks due to the fear of COVID widespread. Not sure where everyone's gonna go, considering Disneyland and Disney World were also closed indefinitely, pending developments, of course. This is either the real thing or they're preparing us for COVID 3000, the final frontier. Inside joke. You remember that commercial? Is your son's name Grover? Well, you better send money fast because his ski trip's over. Well, America is doing its best Grover rendition in real time, and the names have been revealed to wake up the ignorant. Somebody needs to tell Ian the 2/3 is prophesied. The party's over. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 4, and it reads, "The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth." I'm watching updates regarding this thing, and E-Dub is still on the news talking about spent a lot of money on his trip to the Dominican, and he's been planning this vacation for a long time, so he's going. You're damn right you're going, just not to the Dominican Republic. The heart of the wise, the mindset of those who have this truth is focused on the ensuing trouble. An even wiser man relishes knowing there are learning and teaching moments to be prophesied, recognizing the end is near, and because the writing's on the wall, those who actually have oil in their lamp will use their light to discern the time, advise those who may be clueless, and prepare his steps moving forward. But the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. The Brown Driver Briggs lexicon being a Bible dictionary more or less, describes mirth as gladness, joy, pleasure, whereas the Strong's Bible dictionary translates as blithesomeness, meaning to be happy and without a care in the world, glee and rejoicing. For you not to consider the times we're in, and your direct go-to is live it up, party time, excellent. The designation of fool is an understatement. And then the question becomes, what is a fool? This is Psalms chapter 14, verse 1, and it reads, to the chief musician, a psalm of David, who was a prophet, by the way. The fool hath saith in his heart, there is no power. There is no Yahweh, why Yahweh Shah. There is no law, statute, or commandment. There is no retribution for wickedness. There is no end to his rule. They are corrupt, meaning spoiled, ruined, and perverted. These are traits of the destroyer himself, the physical being Esau. They have done abominable works, meaning they have practiced iniquity, like the coronavirus, which there is no doubt in my mind that it was created with the intention to cull the herd, meaning control population growth, in which the Russians, Chinese, and the Iranians, particularly former President Ahmadinejad, who agrees calling it a biological weapon made by the U.S., wickedness like the virus laying dormant, then reacting to microwave emissions made by 5G technology, as recently suggested by alternative media. Abominable meaning that which is detested by the Most High Power. There is none that doeth good. This is the spirit of wickedness employed by Edom, his minions, and all those facing Yahweh's judgment. Ultimately, it is Jake who doesn't consider being blind to the truth by the will of Yahweh, but for the most part, they have fallen victim to what I would call a willful ignorance. The truth is, the ultimate distraction for Jake is a good pastime. So with everything being terminated, shut down, closed, suspended, discontinued, to not consider the seriousness of this time we're in, really, this is an orchestration of Yahweh's will himself. The Most High had this to say concerning the coming day of bitter mourning. This is Amos chapter 8, verse 10, and it reads, and I will turn your feasts into mourning, and all your songs into lamentation. A month away, I guarantee you, in all this madness, Jake is still planning Easter egg hunts and getting together with folk anticipating the long weekend, and who's gonna make the best potato salad. Ridiculous. And I will bring up sackcloth upon all loins and baldness upon every head, which is indicative of practices observed by the Israelites in the antiquities regarding times of mourning. And I will make it as the mourning of an only son, like a man of a certain dignity who would bewail the possible end of his own heritage. Another example would be Yahweh Shai, as how he wept for Jerusalem. And like Esau and the 2/3 are about to know how it feels like to lose their own lineage, retribution for the slaying of our Lord, pursuant to Jeremiah 49 and 10, and the end thereof as a bitter day. As I alluded to earlier, Israel, who are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Indians, and those scattered across the four corners of the earth, who look like the other nations, including the so-called white man, can be easily distracted in bad times where most look for a distraction, and in good times when a distraction is the good times they're in. Whatever the happenstance, E has been plotting this mass microchipping since they planned to remove Yahweh Yahweh Shah from the equation and rule the world. Branding, piercing the ears of slaves, numbering them, taking a census, The B system called for this bill and legislation amending it to be set in place so that they had a right legally, which fell in line with the Constitution, not to enforce implementation of the chip per se, but the right to register or retrieve data surrounding any implanted device. From the Obama administration to Trump, the one constant has been Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, whose brother and family, according to Judge Joe Brown, who I'm an avid listener, y'all should check out his show, has been knee-deep in the filth since time immemorial. She has been down with this program from the get-up, of course. It will be interesting to see how the coming election plays out, especially in consideration of this old clip.
Our constitutional journey did not stop then, and it must not stop now, Judge. And we'll be faced with equally consequential decisions in the 21st century. Can a microscopic tag be implanted in a person's body to track his every movement? There's actual discussion about that. You will rule on that, mark my words, before your tenure is over. Can brain scans be used to determine whether a person is inclined toward criminality or violent behavior? You will rule on that. And Judge, I need to know whether you will be a justice who believes that the constitutional journey must continue to speak to these consequential decisions, or that we've gone far enough in protecting against government intrusion into our autonomy, into the most personal decisions we make. Judge, that's why this is a critical moment.
Now, fact checkers are quick to dismiss the idea that this legislation intends anything sinister, stating the language doesn't even appear in the Obamacare Act, but the opening video clearly shows that this assessment is in fact not the case. Secondly, they suggest the amendments to the bill no longer include the language in question. Another argument that I've heard was any such bill, particularly HR 3590 or 3590 and the National Medical Device Registry, reflected the registration of pacemakers, cardiac monitors, and dental fillings, etc., referred to as our Class 2 designated products in the document, and not at all intended for the implanting of RFID technology. But if you look through the document, Class 3 of the bill specifically refers to cutting-edge medical breakthroughs, new technologies and devices that are too new to know how safe they may be. These might include life support and life-sustaining systems, some of which are implantable. So basically, the bill only calls for the tracking of unique devices and gives authority to the Secretary to require RFID tags to put on implantable transponders. They contend this does not intend for the implanting of people. You know what I say? I say tomato, sweet tomato. It's the all too familiar doublespeak we've learned to expect from the feds. I mean, let's keep it a buck. Besides E being confirmed as a natural-born liar, the ability to number and track you is almost, not quite, but still almost as important as the legal right to implant you. And the truth is, do you think the powers that shouldn't be really need a piece of paper to get you to accept an implanted device if it's the difference between eating or not or receiving medical attention? This is Psalms chapter 140, verse 1, and it reads, "To the chief musician, Psalm of David, deliver me, O Yahweh, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man." And that man of violence is Esau Edom, whose blessing is a sword, pursuant to Genesis 27:40. Which imagine mischiefs in their heart, referring to Esau, who meditates on devising these calamities he thrusts on Israel and the other nations. Coincidentally, Strong's translates mischief as adversity, affliction, calamity, distress, evil, etc. And Mark, continually are they gathered together for war. Who can name a country or region, Brother Numsi, another inside joke, hasn't shed blood or incited with violence, particularly for monetary or socio-political gain? They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent. Adder's poison is under their lips. And this is speaking to his deceptive and injurious tongue, like his father, the devil before him, who was cursed eating confusion for the rest of his days. His special skill is talking in circles until he confounds you, never naming any device he's constructed by how he really intends it to function. Keep me, O Yahweh, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man, who have purposed to overthrow my goings. This whole spectacle, the outbreak, the plan to stick us with biowaste and chip us with radio frequency IDs is all intended to snare the Israelites. Our goings are the kingdom for those of Israel who can endure to the end. Verse 5, the proud, again speaking of Esau, who regards not the power of Yahweh and the consequences of his actions while he solicits all this scheming pursuant to Psalm 10:4, have hid a snare for me, laid a trap, a covert effort to stop Israel's increase, and cords they have spread a net by the wayside. They have set jinns, meaning spies, for me. Salah. Now, I'm going to say some bad words, so for the faint of heart, you've been fairly warned. What do you suppose the elite have planned now that they have everybody all indoors? In any event, I just wanted to impress on you, Esau has full intention of mandatory immuning the nations and enforcing the implementation of the RFID microchip, bill or no bill. With senior Trump calling this outbreak a national emergency and the deployment of military into several states now, deploying I think 1,000+ troops, world leaders and celebrities alike locking themselves away. Either this is a well-constructed drill or we are at the end of this thing. Stay strong, saints, and stay sharp. Hope y'all were edified. Yada hey Allah Yahweh. Shalom Yasharallah. On to the next.
We're going to go right back to Jan Crawford. She's had an opportunity to read more of the opinion. And Jan, what do you see?
Scott, we are processing what is in fact this complicated decision, but it appears the Chief Justice has joined with 4 of the court's liberals to uphold the mandate.
Jan, thank you very much. Headline of the hour. This is the most important thing that has happened so far. The Supreme Court has upheld the individual mandate, essentially affirming that President Obama's health care law is indeed constitutional. And the Congress did not exceed its authority when it essentially ordered every American to buy health insurance.